If I conferred with our furry friends, man to animal, think of the amazing repartee. If I could walk with the animals, talk with the animals, grunt and squeak and squawk with the animals, and they could talk to me.
Hello and welcome to Pet Watch, a monthly program about the Williamson County Animal Center. I'm Debbie Sims and I'll be your host today. And my special guest is Charlotte Blake. Hey, Charlotte.
Hi. Thank
Charlotte,
you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Charlotte is with Project Reward, and she is a certified animal trainer?
Certified professional dog trainer.
Okay, certified professional dog trainer.
Yeah.
What kind of certifications does a dog trainer achieve? What are they called?
Actually, it's a fairly unregulated field, but there are certain certifications you're capable of getting. A CPDT is basically says that you've done so many hours of training, you've apprenticed. You have to have people that vouch for you that are other CPDT. Basically, people write recommendations to the organization. You have to take a 300 question test, and then you just have to take continuing education every 3 years. So you have to get so many things every year to make sure that you're still progressing in your training. It's great to have, in my opinion.
There are not a lot of professional dog trainers. That's a very specialized field.
Yep.
How were you raised with a lot of animals, or?
I was raised in South Florida, and we always had dogs. At 7, I set up my fake agility courses with brooms and chairs, and had my dog jumping on everything, and was always interested. But I came to Nashville actually to go to Belmont, and after stealing my parents' dogs for a couple years, I decided to adopt from Nashville Humane when I was about 20 years old, and that's my first dog, Zeus, and I started getting into more dogs, and I started working at Camp Bow Wow, a doggy daycare local, and then from there just kind of flew into training. So it wasn't something that I knew I was going to do by any means. It just kind of felt natural.
And the depth of your training came when you went to New York State?
I actually went to Colorado first. I apprenticed under a trainer named Amy Sadler. Amy's very well known for her nonprofit Dogs Play for Life, which we'll get into later with the play groups. But I stayed in Colorado for 3 months, basically apprenticed at this shelter that's very progressive, has a behavior team. They work through all different behavior issues. Open intake shelter right outside Denver, so lots of pit bull dogs. It was a great experience. And I came back and did private training for pet dogs, people that own them in the Nashville area. And then I had an opportunity to go to New York, which is really where I got into animal welfare. I worked for Animal Farm Foundation, which is in New York.
The Animal Farm Foundation is something maybe our viewers have heard of before.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit that is basically trying to create equality among dogs. Right now their focus is the pit bull dog, but it's really about creating equality and opportunity for all dogs. They're a granting foundation. They do a lot of education. The subsidiary is the National Canine Research Council, which does more research and different things like that. It was very, very educational living there. Got to meet people from all over the country. They host internships 6-7 times a year. Shelter workers from all over the country can come and learn to make their shelter more progressive.
Wow. So you're immersed in it there.
Yeah.
And you learn not only the skills to be a trainer, but you also learn the shelter side of things.
Correct, which is huge. Speaking and education is one of the biggest things in animal welfare that you can do to help dogs.
And many of the pit bulls mixes in the United States end up in shelters.
Correct. I mean, there are a lot in homes, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But depending on where you are in the country, most of the times there are a majority of the dogs in the shelter system. It's actually not even the fact that there's more of them, it's that typically their length of stay is longer than your average dog. So it may look like more, but when you go back to your data at the end of the year, you actually probably don't have as many as you thought. They just stay longer.
Isn't it? It just has the appearance, because I think though it is changing, pit bulls still suffer from a total misconception about, and it's a good time to introduce our buddy Rio here, who's one of your dogs.
Yeah, this is Rio.
How old is he, and
He's
how
5.
did he come into your life?
When I was working at Animal Farm Foundation, Rio got transferred to New York from a small little shelter in New Mexico. Lucky. We actually went out and visited them last summer. They thought he was something special. They reached out to search and rescue groups. They didn't really get any much feedback, so they reached out to Animal Farm, and he was transferred in for the service dog program they have. They take pit bulls from across the country. After a little bit of testing, they can actually train them to be a service dog, just like your purposely bred Labrador, Golden Retriever, all those things. So he actually, unfortunately, flunked out of that. A little bit too much energy for your average person.
So like all service dogs,
Yeah.
there's a testing period.
Yeah, of course.
Where we determine, or a person like you or other organization that trains service dogs for various reasons, determines whether they have the concentration and the ability to do the things a service dog has to do.
Correct.
Okay.
While he has tons of qualities, there were certain things that
Right.
didn't make him specific for that.
So something else stood out about
yeah,
him.
so
What was
he
his
was
gift?
a bit crazy for toys, and I took him back into foster after he didn't work out for the program, and he just fit right away. I knew, like, the moment I threw a frisbee, I was like, this dog's for me. And since then, we've competed in frisbee, dock diving, obedience, agility. I mean, you name it, he's done it, and he's done it well. So, and it's great to go to these events because usually we're the only pit bull dog there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, and he's just athletic.
Not your. You talked about dock diving. That's
Yeah.
where you throw an object, either a frisbee or a ball, into a big pool of water in a performance type of arena, and the dogs that jumps the farthest wins its category.
Correct.
Is that
yeah,
right?
we just competed at CMAs recently, and it's a 40-foot dock and a 40-foot pool. And basically, you get to throw a toy, and your dog tries to jump and get it. And his personal best right now is 24 feet.
Wow.
So you can think how big that is.
And you don't necessarily think of a pit mix as being a
Exactly.
water dog either.
No.
But
he loves
we've
his
proven that
toys.
wrong at the shelter because they always want to jump in the lake when we
Yes.
take them to the
Oh, that's
dog
awesome.
park with the lake. Yeah,
Yeah.
some of them are water dogs, some aren't, just like
Yep.
every other breed. So what is he considered, a performance dog now, or what?
He's my pet,
He's
first
your
and
pet,
foremost.
okay.
Yep, he's my dog. But he really enjoys it. His life wouldn't be fulfilled if he did not have these outlets.
So
so-
dogs just have a purpose, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah, and they want that for their own fulfillment.
Yeah, for his needs.
And his is to get the toy back to you. Is that
Yeah, a relationship. So
Okay.
while he finds the toy really rewarding, he finds the engagement more.
okay?
Yeah.
So he does it for the love.
For the love of the
Okay.
toy and me, hopefully.
'Cause he's a big baby. He's
Yeah.
a baby for the love. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've seen him licking everybody in the face this morning here in
Yeah.
the studio. He is adorable and just couldn't be happier, as you can tell. And he's very obedient too, as I would
Yeah.
expect your dogs to be.
Yes.
They know all the basic commands. What is your philosophy in training any dog?
So we teach motivationally using dogs' basic interests: play, prey, food, pack drive, all these different drives that really motivate a dog. So we're interested in basically allowing the dog the opportunity to learn the behaviors. Before we implement any have-tos, we really want to make sure the dog knows the behavior. Depending on the dog, motivators can be different. One of my dogs loves a squirt bottle in the face. He licks it, licks it, licks it. To him, that's one of the best things. Rio's is toys and food, right? So we use a lot of food in training, creating repetitions and allowing dogs the opportunity to learn what we want from them. Yep.
And he loved the agility.
Yeah,
part of it?
he loves anything.
Yeah.
You can, yeah, he'll do just about anything.
He'll do anything to get a food reward. Is
Correct,
that what you're saying? Does every dog need some kind of training?
Every dog could benefit from training. I don't think every dog needs training. There's some people and some dogs that are living just fine the way they are and they haven't had training, or maybe their owners do some things with them they don't realize. But a large amount of dogs could definitely benefit from training and structure and even just the enrichment part of it, quality of life, and it creates a bond. So relationship with your dog.
Yeah. Now, Project Reward is available to people who adopt from the Williamson County Animal Center.
Yeah, it's available to Williamson County residents and even some I occasionally get Davidson County residents that will drive down and different things. It's basically a nonprofit donated by Snooty Giggles Dog Rescue here in the area, in Franklin area. And our goal is to basically keep dogs out of shelters. Whether that means they just got adopted and we don't want them going back, or they've been with a family for 3 years and now maybe the situation's changed and they're having some difficulties. While that's our goal, we do help with a lot of other things. Dogs in the shelter, other rescue groups quite often help ask for an evaluation on a dog, or maybe an introduction to an adopter's dog, and things like that will help with.
The problems that a dog might present to a family can be minor, like
Correct.
knocking over the garbage, or they could be major, like being aggressive
Correct.
to a particular neighbor's dog, child, whatever. And all of those behaviors, the more severe they do need to be addressed in order for us to be a community.
Yeah, safety in the community is a priority.
Right.
So that's something that we're always talking about when we talk to people and their dogs with behavior issues, is a realistic assessment, and if it's safe for your family, how do we move forward and things like that. The behavior section of Project Reward is open to anybody. It's on a donation basis. There's no fee. If you're having a problem with your dog and you can't afford training, and you're thinking about surrendering, or you need to rehome your dog, or you're having issues, that's what we're here for.
So those people
should contact us.
Could call Project Reward,
Correct.
regardless of where they got their dog.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That's great to know that help is there on a reduced or a no-fee basis.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And your facility is located?
It's just south of Franklin. It's about 10 minutes south. It's in the Thompson Station, Leapers Fork area.
Okay. So you have an indoor training facility and some
Correct.
acreage.
It's an indoor barn, fanned, not AC'd, but it's great. We are so happy to have it and so lucky. There's rubber matting on it, and we teach classes in there, private lessons, and all different types of stuff, as well as plenty of yard space. We have a pond, and the dogs love that as well. Plenty of place for introducing new dogs and kind of working through a lot of different issues. It's a great space.
Yeah, we always caution people about how to make the introduction of a second or third animal into the family.
Yes.
But our help is just words as they go out the door at the shelter sometimes.
Yeah.
So we might have had a meet and greet that went well. When they get home, there could be some agitation between the old pet could be causing it or the new pet.
Definitely.
But that's not an insurmountable thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about how the introduction is made and how quickly and how you handle it, right?
Correct. So I always like to teach and explain before the dog goes home so we can set people up for success. That's the goal. Allowing people at the education so that they can realize how not to minimize mistakes, basically, minimize error, so that we can set all the dogs up for success.
And what you mentioned is so important about once you have a dog at home and you are having a problem, you're there and you're available to help.
Correct.
The first impulse should not be, well, I'm taking that dog back.
Yeah,
because my little dog got mad and nipped at it and then something happened.
That's our goal, is
Right.
that when people maybe adopt a dog and maybe something they didn't realize, or they're having a little difficulty, and maybe they call Williamson County and saying, I'm having these issues, when are you open? I'd like to return the dog, that they refer.
Right.
And they say, oh, well, call Charlotte, because
Right.
she could potentially talk you through it, or she can come out, and help you specifically. And even if necessarily the person may not be totally willing in their household, it allows us information on the dog to make the dog more adoptable if they happen to come back to the shelter.
Yes.
So it's all about reducing the length of stay and making appropriate homes for the dogs.
Now, one of the classes that you offer is sort of an oxymoron, puppy obedience.
Yeah,
Now, tell me how, because as an amateur, I cannot, puppies, you just expect them to tear things up, to eat your shoes, to use the bathroom on the floor. So what is
class.
puppy obedience? Educate all of us, because we all take a puppy home and go, well, it's going to be a hard couple of months.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily true. How early can a puppy attend
Well,
a
you
class?
can start training when you get your puppy, as
Yeah.
soon as you get it. We call it a puppy foundations class.
Okay.
It's a lot of foundations. We're teaching the puppies how to learn. We're teaching you how to, again, set the puppy up for success in the home, so you have the least amount of error, whether it's in mouthing and biting my kids when they run, or crate training, or house training, or chewing things. We're talking about these in a lecture environment. We do a lot of socialization. One of the biggest factors of puppies, puppy foundation class, is we allow the dogs to play. We introduce new things, sounds, textures, visual aids. We're really getting a good idea of the dog as a puppy. You're looking at like genetic makeup before nature nurture, right? We really want to set the dogs up for success. So we can see problems when they're little. When a lot of times when they come to puppy foundations class, maybe they're, maybe they're really nervous and we didn't realize in a new environment. So maybe we need to help a little bit more socialization wise. It's a great idea to get them out early. One of the best things that happens at puppy class is that people bond with their dogs. And they take that bond home, and they value training. They train at home. I can really see that by the week 6, people are enjoying their puppies more because the puppies are receptive. right?
Okay.
Our goal with Williamson County and Project Reward and offering free puppy classes to any dog that's adopted under the age of 6 months old is to create that bond, right? Lessen the amount of dogs that are returned to shelters. When I moved down here from New York 2.5 years ago, and Sean Aswad from Snooty Giggles and I met with Laura at the shelter, one of her biggest things was dogs being returned, puppies being returned at that, getting adopted out as this cute little thing that,
Right.
and then being returned at 10, 11, 12 months old, super high energy with no manners, right? So that's the goal. In that class, what we're trying to reduce is basically create the bond, create the value for training, create the value in the dog. We welcome families to class. Kids are more than welcome to come to class. In fact, we ask them to come. It's
Right.
a great experience for the other dogs in class and maybe don't have kids at home. Well, they get
And
to
I've
interact
often
with kids.
wondered what good does it do if dad or mom knows how to handle the
Yeah.
dog, but nobody else in the family does. So when they get home,
Exactly.
only one person out of 4
Yeah, everybody's doing something
knows
different.
what the dog is expecting and what to expect from the dog if they don't all go to training together. So that's wonderful that you have a family atmosphere.
Yes.
Now, if you don't have the foundations developed with your puppy, you'll come up with a really high. You might come up with a really high energy, hard to handle year-old dog.
Yeah, and it's not to say that they're all going to be like that.
Right.
But we have a mix when we go into the basic obedience class, which is basically anything over 6 months old that has not had any
that would
prior
be
training.
the next class.
Yep, that would be the next class. It's offered at a discount to dogs adopted from Williamson County. But that class, we still do the same similar basics with food. In puppy class, we use a lot of food for training.
Right.
We're teaching repetition, sit down, stay, walk on a leash, those types of stuff. You can teach to puppies, right? Puppies are receptive. They're like little sponges. They take in everything. And usually puppies have food drive, which is what we
Right.
want, right?
Right.
Puppies are always hungry, always.
Right.
So we use that value. Same thing when they get older. We use a lot of food in group classes because it's a great way to basically get your dog paying attention to you in a distraction environment. You're already thrown into this 6-dog group. We really want something that can, help you progress in a class environment.
So
yeah.
if they do the behavior you want, you give them a small food reward. Is that
Correct.
how it works?
Yep.
Okay. And this we're talking about a couple of pieces of kibble, or what do you?
So we start with basically a 100% reward ratio, right? So basically we're teaching a dog something, and whether we're luring, which means like a magnet, I put the cookie on the dog nose, I teach them what I want, and I reward them. We're starting with 100%. You do it, you get it, right? And then as the dog really knows the behavior, we start going to a variable rate of reinforcement. That's where everyone goes, right? And you
Right.
get the dog that
Right.
I get quite often. He'll only do it if I have a cookie in my hand. We don't want that, right?
Right.
We want
Right.
a dog.
That's a lot of too many cookies.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing with children.
Yes.
I've learned that with my children. You can't offer an ice cream cone every time they do
Yes.
something because it's just an expected behavior after a while.
Exactly. We'll go to variable rate of reinforcement where the dog is gambling. Is she going to have it if she doesn't, right? And then we'll move away from food rewards and we'll reward with other things like going for a walk, going out the door, getting fed from a food bowl, meeting another dog, meeting a person. There's so many other rewards. Toys, right? You can have so many other rewards other than food. It's just the most bang for your buck and the most repetitions
Right.
in a short time.
And in the beginning, the brain of a puppy is not quite as developed as that
Yeah.
of just like a human.
Yep.
It's not as developed, so it responds to the basics,
Correct.
which is food.
Yep.
So you got puppy foundations and you've got basic obedience.
Yep.
Then what if you wanted to take a dog beyond that? What
We
would
have a
be
level
next?
2 class right now. Those are people that have gone through the basic and are kind of repeating. We're basically increasing distractions and increasing basically what we expect. So longer distances, longer times. So maybe we're doing 3-minute downstays with dogs walking around the room, just real life practical things that you can use in your environment, whether it's at home, at the park, or whatever. We're just trying to make it as realistic as possible.
So this dog could stay quietly without a leash in a room full of roaming dogs as long as you gave him the right command.
Correct.
He would stay there until you let him
Yes.
go.
Yep.
And that's hard for us to imagine. When we have a hyperactive puppy and a herd of 2 or 3
Yeah.
dogs running around the house.
It's all about the amount of time you put in, definitely.
Yeah. And if the chaos is bothering you, you need to do something about it.
Correct.
Because
Before it'll just build.
it will become worse. Now, beyond the level 2 class, Rio has gone into a whole realm of agility.
Yeah.
Right?
We have found the world of dog sports, which is fun. It's great being in that environment. People bond with their dogs. They love their dogs. They're going out on weekends and spending, who knows how much money and enjoying their dog. And we have brought that here, Williamson County, hoping we can introduce it to more people. So we offer a plethora of dog sports, whether it's frisbee, agility, and we'll hopefully be doing some other sports coming up. But yeah, so basically just instilling that bond.
What are other sports that dogs?
Nose work is the big one. So anybody can do that likes food, right?
Right.
Or toys. It's basically a dub down of
so you
police, canine,
you
direct,
hide something
yeah.
and they find it?
So
okay.
like detection dogs, right? There's actually basically a pet version, right? So there's multiple ways to teach it, but dogs are basically hunting for food, hunting for their toy, hunting, and then they transfer it to a scent. There's nose work as a sport that's growing all over the U.S. Basically, your average person, their dogs are enjoying. Dogs love to hunt. It's a natural thing, right? They lose their noses.
Do they compete?
Yeah, there are competitions in it.
Wow.
Yeah, there's all different types of dog sports.
It's how fast they find it, or whether they open the object or turn it over or whatever.
Just how fast they find it, if they find it. Yep. And there's all different types of stuff.
Now, you also offer something called Canine Good Citizen.
Yeah. Right now, a lot of our level 2 dogs have taken this. We offer the testing by appointment. The Canine Good Citizenship is put on by the AKC. It's basically a testing of 10 or 12 different things that basically says your dog is appropriate, right, in a public setting. It's something you can practice and train for. It's things like staying like this, walking on a loose leash, walking by a dog, which is one of the more difficult things a lot of the dogs have problems with. There's a separation, so I would pass Rio to you and leave the room for 3 minutes, and my dog's got to be somewhat relaxed. He can't panic when the owner leaves. And then your basic obedience, sit down, stay, come. All those different things are kind of tested in a little bit of an environment to make sure the dog will respond with no food. So yeah, it's a great test.
So the person and the dog have to work toward achieving Canine Good Citizen.
Yep, and then they get a certificate.
They take classes, they practice.
Correct.
They do reinforcement.
Yep.
Now, when a person takes a class from you, say the basic obedience or puppy foundations, that's usually a 6 weeks class?
It's a 6 consecutive weeks at the same time each week. Occasionally we'll skip a week due to a holiday. But yeah, it's a 6-week course.
Okay, and they come to your facility and are in the barn.
Yep.
Barn setting in a group.
Sometimes we do outside if it's a really nice day, or we go for a walk and then we'll do some stuff. But yeah, it's a nice setting. It's about 6 dogs usually. Sometimes 8 on a Saturday or Sunday in the spring or fall when it's nice out.
Yeah.
But it's a great environment.
Well, beyond the services that are offered through Project Reward, you also have Fresh Canine, which is an umbrella for the other services you provide to the public on a daily basis, right?
Correct.
And they include all the lessons we've talked about.
Yeah, it's a private dog training business. It includes basically group classes, private lessons, and board and trains on a smaller basis than a lot of the other facilities.
What's
here.
A board and train?
A board and train is where the dog actually comes and lives with us.
Okay.
We are taking less dogs, so the dogs are actually in a home environment. So we're working on, it could be puppy foundations, basic obedience, or it can be serious behavior problems. So it's all different things in a more realistic home setting. Yep.
So this is kind of your version of Cesar Millan's acreage, where I've seen him on
TV.
It's like let me take the dog to the ranch and let him learn about pack mentality and how to live in a home and what's expected behavior and that kind of thing.
We
so
do use the dogs quite a bit, but a lot of it is similar training. They're just getting more of it than they would in a private lesson once a week for 6 weeks.
I see. It's more of an immersion.
Correct.
But it's not in that family's home, but it translates into their home.
Yep, that's the goal. Yep. So that's the reason we do private lessons at the end, is so that we can transfer all the behaviors the dog has learned with us and all the things they no longer do into the home.
Well, I've looked at your website and I noted that this questionnaire is so extensive that you have for anybody that's coming to a class. I've never seen such detail.
The behavior questionnaire is for people that are looking for usually private training or any kind of board and train. So something with a little bit more seriousness.
I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong.
No,
because you need to know those things.
Yeah.
What is your dog? I mean, it's great. It's so in depth that you can probably grasp what's wrong with that dog and what needs to be corrected before it even gets there.
Correct. A lot of times when we're speaking to clients, they overlook little things that could really have a big effect on the dog.
Right.
Which is the reason we have the questionnaire. You know, it's asking everything from what's your dog's regular day like, who feeds the dog, what people in the home spend time with the dog, who's your veterinarian, you know, what food do you feed, how much do you feed, all these different things that kind of just give us a good eye into the dog before we even actually meet you.
And noises that set it off and little
Yeah,
things like
definitely.
that. And they like the vacuum cleaner but hate the doorbell. You never know.
Yep.
Well, this has been so interesting, Charlotte. I hope that all of our viewers will remember that you do offer the Project Reward services at a reduced or free rate.
Correct.
Through the grant and the foundation. And the Snooty Giggles is
Yeah.
the one who was able to get this grant and create Project Reward and put you on board. And it's a wonderful facility down in south of the county, and it's a great place to go for any kind of training lessons. And that if anyone has a dog that has a problem, you certainly seem like you can handle it.
Yes.
So we're excited to have you in the community. And the website that has the information, there's a Project Reward.
Correct.
What's the name of that website?
It's on the Snooty Giggles website. It's basically a drop down.
So if you look up snootygiggles.com
Yep.
or you look up Fresh Canine for your other business.
freshcanine.com.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate you being here and giving us all this information. To wind up today's program, I want to let our viewers know about some opportunities and things coming up at the shelter. We're still in the midst of the Can't Stop the Feeling summer promotion in conjunction with Nashville Metro Animal Control. And our goal during the Can't Stop the Feeling special is to adopt 2,000 more animals this year in combination with Metro Animal Control, log 10,000 more volunteer hours, and grow our foster program by 60 families. So no challenge would be complete without an adoption special. So all adoption fees are lowered to $10, and that goes on through August the 15th. So help us meet that goal. Become a volunteer, adopt an animal, or inquire about being a foster family. We have about 40 foster litters of kittens out right now. So we're still in the midst of a heavy kitten season, and we still need foster families to learn how to foster and take care of those tiny kittens until they can come in for adoption. On August 26th and 27th, our friends at Mars Pedigree will be having the 2016 Mars Adoption Challenge at the shelter. So watch for more information on that. There should be some specials for you there, courtesy of our friends at Mars Pedigree. And for more information about our shelter, I encourage you to friend us on our Facebook page. That's where we keep you up to date with the pet of the week, what's going on. We have great pictures of events and volunteers. If you're thinking of adopting a pet, come to our shelter at 106 Claude Yates Drive. That's right next to Franklin High School. There is some construction going on Hillsborough Road, and you do need to currently take Joel Cheek Boulevard and around the backside of Franklin High School to reach us. The detour signs are up. Just follow them. We're open for adoptions Monday through Friday from 10 to 6, Saturday from 11 to 3, and on Sundays from noon to 4. Or you can call us at 790-5590. And I thank you for watching Pet Watch, and I'll see you next month.
If I conferred with our furry friends, man to animal, think of the amazing repartee. If I could walk with the animals, talk with the animals, grunt and squeak and squawk with the animals, and they could talk to me.
Please come on out and join us at the 2016 Williamson County Fair from August 5th to the 13th at the Ag Expo Park in Franklin, Tennessee. This year's theme is Barnyard Mardi Gras. Some daily events at the fair this year include carnival rides, art shows, culinary competitions, livestock shows, a chainsaw artist, the escape artist Lady Houdini, and great food. Some special events include pageants for all ages, Elvis tribute artist Sean Clush and Cody Ray Slaughter, the Dreams Do Come True Disney Princess Show,
woke up today.
the annual Sing Your Heart Out vocal competition, the Bluegrass Music Festival, and appearances by Nicole C. Mullen, Genevieve Allen, Leanne Morgan, Larry Chun and A Step Ahead, the Beacho Brothers, and much more. Ticket prices are $7 for adults, $4 for children ages 6 to 12, and children under 6 get in free. For any more questions or information, please visit www.williamsoncountyfair.org. Hope to see you there.